പറഞ്ഞ പേര് ചെല്ലാം. I request all the guests to please take their seats. I request everyone to please take their seats. The dignitaries are expected to arrive at any minute.
அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே.
Thank you. We are extremely privileged to have with us several distinguished guests for this book introduction event. Let us all take the next few minutes to honor the dignitaries on the dais. I invite our senior Shri STS Murthi, Senior Advocate and former Additional Advocate General for the state, to honor His Lordship Mr. Justice M. Sundar, Honorable Judge of the Madras High Court. Sir, please. I now invite Shri G. Silambanan, Senior Advocate and Additional Advocate General of Tamil Nadu, to honor His Lordship Justice M. Sundar, Honorable Judge of the Madras High Court, with a shawl. Sir, please. I once again invite Mr. G. Silambanan, Additional Advocate General of Tamil Nadu, to honor Honorable Mr. Justice M.S. Ramesh, Honorable Judge of the Madras High Court. Sir, please. I now invite Mr. N.L. Raja, Senior Advocate, to honor Her Ladyship Mrs. Justice Anita Sumanth, Honorable Judge of the Madras High Court. I stand corrected. In the absence of Mr. N.L. Raja, I now invite Senior Advocate Mr. P.V. Balasubramaniam to please come onto the stage to honor Her Ladyship, Honorable Mrs. Justice Anita Sumanth. Sir, please. I now invite Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi, Advocate, to honor Mrs. Geeta Sendil Kumar, Secretary, Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Sir, please. I now invite Mrs. Saroja Murthy, mother of the co-author of the book, Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthy, to honor Mrs. N.S. Revati, President of the Women Lawyers Association. Ma'am, please. I now invite once again Mr. P.V. Balasubramaniam, Senior Advocate, to honor the publisher, Mr. Gauri Shankar Natesan from Thomson Reuters. Sir, please. I thank all the esteemed guests for being here with us today. Environmental law plays a crucial role in safeguarding the environment and ensuring sustainable development, particularly in India, where rapid industrialization and urbanization have led to significant environmental challenges. During this rapidly evolving age of artificial intelligence and automation, we should not lose track of local as well as global challenges of climate change and loss of biodiversity. On that note, this comprehensive book on environmental law has been published at a pivotal moment to assist both legal practitioners as well as academicians, as understanding the various environmental challenges is vital for addressing India's pressing ecological challenges. Now, without further ado, I invite our senior and mentor, Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi, advocate and co-author of the book, to present the welcome address and book introduction. Sir, please.
அகர முதல எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்றே உலகு என்று எங்கள் ஐயன் வள்ளுவன் கூறியதைப் போல் அந்த ஆதி பகவனின் ஆசியாலும் அன்னை இயற்கையின் அருளாலும் இத்தகைய சான்றோர்கள் நிறைந்த சபையிலே இந்த புத்தகத்தை தலைசிறந்த நீதிபதி ஒருவருடன் சேர்ந்து எழுதிய பாக்கியம் எனக்கு கிடைத்து உங்கள் முன்னே நிற்கிறேன். வணக்கம். இந்த புத்தகம் இன்று அறிமுகப்படுத்தப்படுகின்றது. என் அருமை உறவினர் ஒருவர் வந்தார். செப்டம்பர் மாதம் நீங்கள் ஒரு புத்தகத்தை எழுதி 4 மாதங்களில் புது புத்தகம் எழுதிவிட்டீர்கள் என்று கூறினார். அதே புத்தகம் தான் இது. அந்த புத்தகம் அன்று வெளியிடப்பட்டது. To say in parlance, the book was born on September 1st, 2024, where the Hon'ble Judges of the Supreme Court has released the book. But after that, the book was put into incubation. There were 3 people who were reason for that. One is us, we take responsibility. Number 2 is a gentleman sitting on the extreme left, the publisher. And the third reason is a guest of honor who's sitting today, who's the center of attention, whose judgment was a fantastic judgment that was covered after we sent the book for printing. We stopped it and eventually covered the judgment. These 3 were the reasons why the book got delayed and we have assembled today. In Tamil, we should say, Pirappu September 1, 2024, Peyar Vaippu Indru. That is, introducing the book today. It is so figurative that the book is getting introduced in the very hall where all members of the bar probably get their name as lawyers, that too in the Bar Council Auditorium. I thank the Bar Council, the chairman and the members for this great opportunity. 3 has perhaps been a very lucky number. The publisher said that, sir, you take 1.5 years to complete the book, but today have taken 3 years to complete the book for several reasons, including giving a comprehensive work on the subject. 3 honorable judges, 3 honorable and prolific judges of the Supreme Court, my Lord Justice Suryakant, my Lord Justice Sundar and my Lord Justice Vishwanathan, have released the book, and 3 prolific judges of our High Court, my Lord Honorable Justice M. Sundar, Honorable Justice M. S. Ramesh, and Honorable Dr. Justice Anita Sumanth, are with us today to introduce this book. We are very thankful for all 3 honorable judges and honorable judges who have off the dais, who have taken their time off their busy schedule to be amidst us today. All 3 judges who have adorned the dais as guests of honor have been invited with a deeper meaning in our sight. All 3 judges have a very strong connection to environmental law and environmental protection. In September 2024, the Madras High Court Division Bench, headed by my Lord Honorable Justice M. Sundar and Her Ladyship Justice Govindarajan Tilakavati, had rendered a path-breaking judgment on ex post facto clearance. That is, whether environmental clearance, which is sought to be given prior, can it be given ex post facto? The bench has said no, that cannot be done. That goes against the very ethos of environmental law. But however, had given a leeway. That is a path-breaking judgment that occupies the field till today. My Lord Honorable Justice M. S. Ramesh was the administrative judge of the Madurai bench a few months back. And during his lordship's stint in Madurai in the 3 months, several public interest litigations regarding protection of water bodies, regarding protection of oceans, regarding protection of rivers. His lordship had passed wide-sweeping orders to protect the environment. Thank you very much, sir. Her Ladyship Justice Anita Sumanth had passed a fantastic order with a foresight. There was a thought process of the government to introduce heli-tourism in Ooty, in Nilgiris. Considering the fact that the hill station is already battered with so much of tourism and it is exploited beyond permissible limits, Her Ladyship's division bench said, no, this goes against the very concept of environmental protection and sustainable development is not in sight, and therefore such adventure by the government violating the right under Article 21 cannot be allowed. And with my folded hands, I thank all the three honorable judges for taking their time off their busy schedule to be amidst us today. And also, Honorable Justice Krishnan Ramasamy, my senior Honorable Justice C. Saravanan, Honorable Justice Satyanarayana Prasad, and Honorable Justice N. Senthil Kumar for taking their time off to be with us today. I also take this opportunity to welcome senior members of the bar, the Bar Association heads who have been a family to me, the President of the Bar Association, Thiru Bhaskar, whom I fondly call as Bhaskar Anna, the President of the Advocates Association, Mr. Mohana Krishnan, who could not be there today for the reason that the delegation in Delhi are contemplating on some important measures adopted by the government with regard to advocate strikes and the Bar Council amendment. I heartily welcome the President of the Women Lawyers Association, Srimati Revati, the Secretary of the Bar Council, Mrs. Grita Senthil Kumar, and the publisher, Mr. Gauri Shankar Natesan. I take this opportunity to thank my senior, my guru and my father figure, Dr. Justice Jyothimani. I welcome my parents, without whom I would not be climbing here. And I also welcome all my family members, my friends, senior advocates, who have in large numbers on a weekday gathered here. This subject, environmental law, is something that all of us do not just see it as a seen. In every flood or every monsoon, we should be worried whether the water would enter our house or probably it will submerge our house in most parts of the city. This was never the case about 10 years back, and this is the clear effect of climate change and unplanned and rapid development without it being sustainable. When my Lord Justice M.M. Sundaresh came for the book release, I had mentioned that His Lordship has penned a beautiful judgment on forest protection, where His Lordship has quoted the tribal chief of Seattle, where His Lordship said this environment is something that we are a part of. The thought process of a human being that he controls the environment is such a fallacy, and the natural catastrophes like what's happened in the recent past in Wayanad, in Uttarakhand, and even in some parts of our state, is a sound reminder that we must forget the anthropocentric approach and go towards the ecocentric approach. That is, the nature and the environment is above everybody. I hail from the western part of Tamil Nadu, that is Erode, but I am mostly a Chennai boy, having least connection to Erode, except the fact my wife Deepika is from Erode and my roots are now rooted with the fact that the better half remains there. But in the last few years, about the last 10 to 15 years, we have seen that Tirupur, which is a prominent district in our state, is described as the Manchester of the East in light of the unbelievable textile production, where textiles are produced in large numbers on qualities and it is exported to several parts of the world. But most of us would be aware what happened to the Noyal River there in Tirupur due to the rampant unplanned development by the tanneries and by the manufacturing dyeing units. The river Noyal suffered, and it was the Hon'ble Madras High Court that stepped in, and later the Hon'ble Supreme Court that put things back on track. But in this process, we saw that several of the dyeing units had to close down. They economically had to have a disaster for the reason that their approach was more towards making profit than making this development sustainable. And we have covered all that aspects in the book. Madras High Court has one more strong relevance as a pioneer of environmental law and environmental protection. Most of us would remember what happened in Vellore by the tanneries about 25 years back. The Vellore Citizens Forum case originated from Madras, and most recently, Honorable Justice Mahadevan, who has given a brilliant introductory address, His Lordship Justice Pardiwala and His Lordship Justice Mahadevan have passed a brilliant order in the Supreme Court where their Lordships elaborately considered the issue of pollution caused by the tanneries in Vellore and have stated that the planning has to be in a sustainable manner, and the polluter who is responsible necessarily have to bear the brunt of paying the environmental compensation. As a young student, I had my first brush with environmental law in 2010. I was in my final year. There was the NGT Act that was introduced, which said the High Court's power is sought to be taken away, and the NGT would be presiding over matters relating to sustainable question relating to environment. I told my father I am filing a public interest litigation. He said, no, you are a young student. But I said there is a legal issue that is involved. Let me assail it. As a guru and a mentor, he did allow me to do that. And I stated in my writ petition as a young boy that the basic structure of the Constitution categorically states the writ power of the High Court is a part of Article 226 in the Chandrakumar's case, and therefore the NGT cannot subsume jurisdiction. What I told in 2010, the Supreme Court in 2022 in the Madhya Pradesh Bar Association case has enforced that. And that perhaps was my first brush with environment. And in 2012, when I was in the AG's office, my senior Mr. Naveen, the former Advocate General, is here. We defended the Kudankulam nuclear plant as the state government, and the bench was none other than my Lord Justice Jyothimani. And we had an elaborate opportunity to understand the consequences and his Lordship's judgment on Kudankulam, where his Lordship said that the policy decision taken by the government with all safeguards cannot unnecessarily be interfered in 226, was approved by the Supreme Court. Later his Lordship served as a member of the NGT, where several orders were passed by his Lordship on environmental protection. And I had the blessing of being a team with him, with brilliant youngsters and colleagues from our office to create this book. One aspect that we need to point out is environmental pollution is increasing day by day. What steps have we taken to combat it? The Honorable Judges, senior members of the bar, Shri Om Prakash, Shri Balasubramaniam, most of them traveled to Delhi. The travel to Delhi from October to January has become a serious concern because Delhi sometimes turns into a gas chamber because of the smog and pollution. The same issue was faced by Beijing, our neighboring country, China, but some hard measures were taken by China and the levels have controlled. So I think it is time that our country also adopts these hard measures, because in environmental law, no half-baked measures would solve the problem. In our book, we have covered as to how the law originated, to how the law had developed. So the book is sequential, which the Honorable Judges will be addressing today. It starts from the international conventions to constitutional law, to air, water, environmental pollution, environmental protection, and then it goes to wildlife, forest, environmental impact assessment, coastal regulation zone, and of course, biodiversity. The reason this book was required was there was a comprehensive work that was needed. Of course, several good friends have penned commentaries on environmental law, but we always felt there was a space, and accordingly we've penned this commentary. After we had penned this commentary and it was in print, the COP29 was held in Baku, Azerbaijan. That is a place where the United Nations climate change program is discussed. The big boys of the West, Europe, US and UK, who are substantial contributors of carbon emissions, said that they would not be able to contribute the amount required for reparation, that is 1.3 trillion US dollars. And they have said that only $300 billion would be pumped in. India, in stark protest with the developing nations, stated that that cannot be done, as the environment at any cost has to be protected, because every part of the world is facing the impacts of climate change. At this stage, I am reminded of the quote of Kaniyan Pungurundranar, who said, Yadum Ure Yavarum Kelir, as the world is a global village, and today the after effects of pollution is not felt between one city to another city, it is felt by the entire globe. To wind up, I am reminded of two quotes. One is the quote of Newton's third law, that to every action there is an equivalent and opposite reaction. There are two people who don't forget it. One is an elephant, which is a part of the environment, and second is the environment itself. Today we are seeing rampant after effects of climate change, and that is because of the fact that the environment gives you back what we give it to it. And as a book, we have compiled all aspects, and I hope that most of you who are going to be the brand ambassadors of our book, read it, give us feedback. And as I began by saying that today is the naming ceremony of the small child that we have created, we are sure that most of you will make our child and us proud by giving your suggestions and views. I thank the honorable judges and the guests who have come in large numbers today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Mrs. N.S. Revati, the President of the Women Lawyers Association, who is a source of strength and courage to the WLA, to say a few words. Ma'am, please.
Good morning and good evening, everybody. The Honorable Mr. Justice Sundar, Judge High Court of Madras, Honorable Justice M.S. Ramesh, Judge High Court of Madras, the Honorable Justice Anita Sumanth, Judge High Court of Madras, the President of the Madras Bar Association, the office bearers of all associations, including Women Lawyers Association, senior advocates and advocates, Gauri Shankar Natesan from Thomson Reuters, and members of the print and electronic media, and most importantly, the authors of the book, Dr. Justice P. Jyothimani and Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi, advocate, and their families. I am very happy to be present in this occasion of the book introduction on the very important subject of environmental law. Authored by two popular and dynamic authors, as pointed out by the speakers before, we are all impacted by the effects of climate change and environmental pollution. This is very important in this juncture. It is crucial that we come together, take responsibility, and understand that we all have a significant role to play in saving our environment. I think on that note, this book has arrived at a crucial time, and I am sure it will be a wonderful tool to help all advocates to practice in the field of environmental law and assist the honorable courts. I convey my congratulations and best wishes to the authors of the book on achieving this incredible task. I once again convey my best wishes and hope the book will be a great success and will be of immense help to members of the bar and bench. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Mr. M. Bhaskar, President of the MBA, the Madras Bar Association, to speak a few words. Sir, please.
A very good evening to the Honorable Judges of the Madras High Court, Honorable Justice M. Sundar, Honorable Justice M.S. Ramesh, Honorable Justice Anita Sumanth, Justice Kishan Ramsamy, Justice Saravanan, Justice Satyanara Prasad, and Justice Arul Murugan. And N.S. Revati, President of the Women's Law Association. Senior advocates, Mr. Gauri Shankar Nadesan, publisher of the book, members of the press and electronic media, and the last but not the least, the authors of the book, Dr. Justice P. Jyothimani and Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi, advocate, and their families and friends. I am very happy to be present on this memorable occasion of the book introduction event of Comprehensive Commentary on Environmental Protection and Pollution Control Laws, a Practitioners and Academicians Guide published by Thomson Reuters. Authored by two beloved members of the bar, and I am even more happy to state that both the authors are beloved members of the Madras Bar Association. Apart from that, all the three chief guests here, honorable judges, all the three honorable judges are also members of the Madras Bar Association. Both of the authors have taken painstaking efforts to complete the monumental task of including almost all the environmental laws and thousands of court judgments in the voluminous book. I am sure this book would be a valuable addition to every law library in the country, and I request everyone to make use of the same. We have with us three honorable judges of the Madras High Court to speak after me. Hence, I do not want to consume much of their time and conclude by thanking the authors and producing such useful book on the important topic for the benefit of everyone, and convey my best wishes to the successful launch of the book. Before parting with I make one request to the authors, Justice Jyothimani and Naveen Kumar Murthi, that Tamil kuda indha oru book kuduthalaam neenga. It's a humble request. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable suggestions, sir. Shri Gauri Shankar Natesan from Thomson Reuters, the publishers, has been the backbone of the book, and he has extended his immense support from day one till this day to get this book published. I am very happy to invite Shri Gauri Shankar to address the gathering. Sir, please.
Honorable Justice M. Sundar, Honorable Justice Ms. Ramesh, Honorable Justice Anita, other distinguished guests on the dais and honorable judges in the audience, senior members of the bar, other members of the legal fraternity in today's evening. I'm very happy to be here today. I mean, there are multiple reasons for this. Naveen had mentioned saying that, 2 dates when the baby was born, right? Yeah. I couldn't make it at that time, and this time he was very insistent that you have to be there, so I'm very happy that I could make it, and very happy to be present when the book is actually being released today. Now, I think he mentioned this we have discussed for a long time. I think it's been years in the making, and over a period of time, I've seen the amount of effort that Justice Jyothimani and Naveen Murthi have put into this book. I've had a lot of feedback from my own team in terms of how they have spent time in going into detail. I think there's a very important book at this stage. Naveen mentioned the impact of climate change. I'm a frequent visitor to Delhi, so I know what I go through every time I go there. It is a very important book, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity to publish this. So on behalf of Thomson Reuters, I would like to thank Justice Jyothimani and Naveen for giving us this opportunity to publish the same. So I also had an opportunity to talk to Mr. Naveen Murthi for my YouTube channel just a few days back. And so we have a channel called Seasoned Insights, where we talk to different members of the legal fraternity and take their opinions and put it there. We just started it. And that particular interview gave me an idea in terms of how passionate he is about the subject. So that is something that didn't come through when, we've had multiple other calls. But during the course of that discussion is when I realized how passionate he was about the subject. And that is something which I think is visible in the book as well. Now, just a couple of words about us. So, I'm the CEO of a company called South Shore Innovations Private Limited, and we are the in-country partners for Thomson Reuters, which means that we do the entire end-to-end publishing for them in India, Sri Lanka, and a few other SAARC countries. I think among the many books that we have published over the years, I would say this is one of the longest in terms of gestation. And as he said, there are multiple people responsible for it, one of them being me. So I have to apologize for that, actually, for the amount of time that we've taken. And over this time, I think I should also say this, that he's become a friend. We've had multiple conversations, and he's become more of a friend. I'm very glad that I'm here on this day, on the occasion of release of this book. I think there has been a request also. This book, while it is, let's put it this way, it's being released today, it will be available in the market in the next maybe a week's time. And again, the reason for that, partially to blame is him. He specifically wanted a particular color. We got this particular color. It just incidentally happened that when we took it to print, the buckram material that was required, it took some time to get. It came just a couple of days back. So I expect that the book will be in the market by this 28th or so of this month. I'm very sure that this book will do very well. I'm very happy to see that a lot of people have gathered here for the release of the book. And I thank you for all the support that you have given the authors, Justice Jyothimani and Naveen. And I'm sure that the book will do very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. While the buzzwords in environmental protection has been global warming and melting of glaciers, we, as common men and women, at times forget to pay keen attention to the burning local issues which are at an arm's distance. On that note, Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi, the co-author of the book, has been following up on several actions taken by certain inspiring people who have contributed their part for protecting the environment and creating awareness not only amongst the citizenry but also the governments and courts to take note of. A few weeks back, biomedical waste of several tons were illegally dumped by our neighboring state in Tirunelveli, and the dumping was so uncontrolled and unabated that it led to an outbreak of disease and infection. One young journalist from Tirunelveli, having humble roots, covered this matter exclusively by multiple stories and social media posts, highlighting the issue to the government, which eventually led to the National Green Tribunal taking suo motu notice of the matter, paving way for all the waste to be sent back within 48 hours back to the neighboring state. A single man's action made the entire machinery work and the judiciary to take note of what is to be done. Such has been the contribution of Mr. Dinakaran Rajamani, principal correspondent from the New Indian Express, and it is these people who open the eyes of millions to the pressing issues of the environment. And we deem this as an appropriate opportunity in the presence of the honorable erudite judges, both on and off the dais, the bar leaders on the dais, and the senior members of the bar and fellow advocates, to recognize the efforts, and accordingly, we have decided that from this year, an award called the Enviro Warrior Award would be presented to persons who have taken extraordinary efforts in protecting and preserving the environment. And Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthy has taken the initiative of providing a cash prize along with a memento to these warriors. Mr. Dinakaran Rajamani has suffered a hand injury and is unable to be present with us today. And may I request Mr. Siddharth Vishnu, advocate, to receive the award on his behalf. Sir, please. I request Honorable Mr. Justice M. Sundar, the chief guest of the day, to present the award. My lord, please. We congratulate Mr. Dinakaran Rajamani on becoming the Enviro Warrior of 2025. Waste management has become a real concern in the city of Chennai, and in the past few years, the floods, as pointed out Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthy in his speech, have created a ruckus, and the primary reason for that is the improper maintenance of the water bodies, the encroachment in the water bodies, and the unscrupulous dumping of waste in the water bodies. In fact, the Honorable Supreme Court has put a question this very morning during a hearing as to how a city can become smart without protecting the water bodies or wetlands in the city, and how cities will become smarter by making encroachments on the water bodies or wetlands. The matter was relating to Rajasthan regarding the restoration of wetlands in Ajmer. However, it was exactly in this context that this journalist from Chennai took painstaking efforts to write several articles pointing out various civic issues, health concerns, and rampant conversion of lakes. It is Mr. Om Jaswin, MD, Principal Correspondent from Times of India, who has brought several eye-opening facts to public knowledge. His tremendous contribution within a short span of time has brought tangible changes, resulting in the government taking various actions for public welfare. Beyond being a good Samaritan, he has taken the role of being a fearless and fiercely independent journalist, which is something to be greatly appreciated. And we deem it appropriate to confer the award to Mr. Om Jaswin, MD, and I request him to come onto the dais. Sir, please. I request Honorable Mr. Justice M.S. Ramesh and Honorable Mrs. Justice Anita Sumanth together to present the award to Mr. Om Jaswin, MD. My lords, please. We are elated to have Honorable Mrs. Justice Anita Sumanth amongst us on this memorable occasion. Just 1 second, Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi would like to state a few words.
Sorry to be encroaching into the quota of Varsha. As I was speaking, I think honorable judges have been kind enough to give the Enviro Warrior Award of 2025 to two fantastic and fearless young journalists. We have decided that this will become a yearly affair, a regular affair. And the president of the Women Lawyer Association, immediately after the first gentleman got the award, she said, I'll step in, we will make it an award from the association and the bar together. So we are sure for the next year, we will make this Enviro Warrior Award a yearly thing where the bar recognizes what is to be safeguarded for the environment. I thank the WLA President, Mrs. Revati, for her hand that she has lent to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are elated to have Honorable Mrs. Justice Anita Sumanth amongst us on this memorable occasion. Her ladyship is known for her expertise in taxation and commercial laws and has deep interest in academia, fittingly been conferred a doctorate in law in international taxation and electronic commerce by the National Law School of India University, Bengaluru. Her ladyship has delivered several path-breaking judgments, including judgments in the branch of environmental law. I now invite her ladyship to address the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Justice Jyothimani, Justice Sundar, Justice Ramesh, my respected colleagues in the audience, dignitaries on and off the days, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be here to participate in this evening's function, and I would like to commend the authors, Justice Jyothimani and Naveen, for the passion in bringing out this 2-volume tome. I have no doubt that it's going to be a very, very valuable resource to all of us. When I was chatting with my colleagues prior to coming here, they were telling me that they're going to speak only for a few minutes each, and were not informed that the time given to them was about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm afraid you have to endure me for a while longer, as I have prepared a stack of papers to present to you. Now, the word environment is derived from the French word Enviro, which means surrounding or encircle. Now, the term environment consists of an indivisible system of physical, chemical, biological, social and cultural events, and ecology therefore requires a synthesis of both factors, with changes in one system spilling over or affecting the other. Now, our responsibility extends to not just valuing the environment, therefore, but protecting it, such that we as populations live within the carrying capacity of the earth, as one article very beautifully put it. That is, we don't burden, but live responsibly and sensitively. In my opinion, to force that is the object of environmental law. Now, environmental concerns could be either local, like when you have pesticides being dumped in the water, etc., or it could be global, such as climate change or oil spills. And the complexities that arise from this could be of two kinds. One is physical complexities, when you have actual physical harm to the environment, or social complexities, such as development projects like airports, dams, and the like. And we find with experience that one cannot view these in terms of black and white as being either environmentally responsible or irresponsible, as the majority of these economic developments are requirements that invariably trample on the interests of the communities as well. So when we speak of social complexity, we refer to those situations where the entity or the person does not intend to harm, but despite that contributes by its or his actions to the harm caused to the environment. Now, what does that mean in the context of a nation state like ours? It means that our response to an environmental issue has to be collective. Now, what are the available remedies themselves. We've got constitutional guarantees, we've got statutes, delegated legislation, but all of this becomes of no avail whatsoever if the will of the people is not there to enforce all this. And therefore, it is the will of the people to adhere to such acceptable norms which is vital. Now, I just want to give you a brief history to how we arrived at where we are today. Environmental concerns were addressed till around the 60s by taking resort to regular civil and criminal remedies. Much earlier, we find that Emperor Ashoka was known to be a very keen conservationist, and his edicts that have been found reveal his emphasis on protection and preservation of the environment. Now, the 1972 UN Conference on Human Environment in Stockholm, which is called the Magna Carta of Environmental Law, urged the municipal governments to do what they could to salvage the interests in their respective environments. This paved the way for the UN Conference on Environment and Development in Rio de Janeiro in June 1992. Now, as a country, we were impressed by both these international events, and we thus resolved to start our own measures to consolidate the laws. Our experience was not a happy experience, and we understood that environmental law is not a magic wand. You don't just wave it and find remedies. One has to create frameworks to manage the problems effectively. Unfortunately, our approach has always been, show me a problem, I'll write you a law, and then show me a legal issue, I'll create you a regulator. It was the Bhopal gas tragedy that woke us up to the necessity for a proper regulation to deal with the environmental issues. This led to the enactment of a hurriedly drafted Environment Protection Act in 1986, the Public Liability Insurance Act in 1991. As prior to that, the regime to combat it were essentially the penal code or site-specific laws that had been enacted pre-independence. These measures were followed by other acts which now have been repealed by the National Green Tribunal Act of 2010. Now, we find that enacting a statute is one thing, but the interpretation of these laws calls for imagination. And a very interesting development in India is the expansion of legal rights to natural resources, particularly rivers and lakes. We've got a slew of judgments that I found very interesting judgments. In 2017, the Uttarakhand High Court said that the Ganga and the Yamuna and the glaciers, the Gangotri and the Yamunotri, as well as other related natural elements, are legal persons with all corresponding rights and duties. How this will pan out, we don't know, but at least the thinking is on the right track. In 2018, a High Court ruled that the entire animal kingdom has rights equivalent to that of a living person. And in March 2020, the Punjab and Haryana High Court passed an order granting rights as a living entity to the Sukna Lake. So in a way, we assume parents patria jurisdiction, protecting the rights of those elements who do not have voices themselves, but who deserve in every way our care and support. I just want to read a very small quote from one of these judgments, which I found was very eloquently put, and I quote, "Of the many paradoxes of human existence, this has to be one of the starkest. Even as we depend for our lives on rivers, even as we venerate them in many cultures, we also pollute them, block their flow, divert them into lifeless channels, and desecrate them in every conceivable way." So this gave birth to what is called environmental justice. And it is this which is gaining ground very vociferously today. But then what is environmental justice? Does it mean justice between persons over environmental assets? Does it mean justice between nations, between generations, or between communities? If you ask me, it is a conglomeration of all of this, a form of justice that would take the rights of the earth and all its living beings into account as equal stakeholders. Previous speakers spoke about recurring tragedies that we've had over the years, and very recently, on account of deforestation, destabilization of land, which has single-handedly been responsible for the Wayanad tragedy, the landslides in Ankola in Karnataka, the loss of entire villages in Maharashtra. Last year, the entry into the Bhimashankar Falls, the waterfalls, was stopped for 2 weeks because of the unpredictable water levels and the water flow. And we find that these events are contributing to our vocabulary also. Early last year, Jyothimani saw the phenomenon of sinking land, which was termed subsidence, essentially meaning that a sagging of the earth's surface on account of the sucking out of all the natural resources, including water, under the earth. In fact, closer home, we've had in the metro constructions many roads collapsing, and then we find huge gaping holes underneath. Perhaps this is not subsidence in what was meant, but we do see the effects of the constant sucking out of the earth's nutrients and a depletion of the water table, leading to the sagging of the earth itself. With the distress that the earth has been seeing over the years, we have, this was also referred to by a previous speaker, so I'm not going to elaborate on it. We have enunciated several principles for the protection of the earth. First of them is to balance the interests of the environment and economic development, sustainable development. This, again, just to give you some history, was coined and defined in the 1987 Brundtland Report. For those of you who have an academic bent of mind, this is a beautiful report that is available online. It's called Our Common Future by the World Commission on Environment and Development. And of course, you've got the locus classicus Godavarman Thirumalpad, where they say, and I quote, "Adherence to the principle of sustainable development is a constitutional requirement. While applying the principle of sustainable development, one must bear in mind that development must meet the needs of the present world without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs." We've come some steps ahead now, in that the Supreme Court is very often saying that if there is a tussle between the environment and economical development, it is in the environment that must take precedence. You all know of the M.K. Ranjit Singh case, where the great Indian bustard and the little florican, endangered birds, their voices were heard by the Supreme Court. Both birds are on the verge of extinction, and the Supreme Court ordered conversion of overhead power lines into underground cables in a time-bound manner, as these birds used to get entangled in the power lines and die. So 90,000 square kilometers has now been designated as priority habitat for the birds. The previous speaker also spoke about the moving of the times from reactive to proactive environment jurisprudence, referring to the Anthropocene era. Today, we are in the Anthropocene era, which they say is a geological epoch that describes the time when human activities have had a very significant impact on the earth. This term comes from the Greek words anthropo, meaning human, and scene, meaning new. I think the time has come today when people and states have to be very careful about what they wish for, because if you wish for it, you invariably get it, and at what cost is what we should see. I'll conclude with just 2 points. I wanted to quote from the lyrics of a song written by Michael Jackson. It's called the Earth Song, and this is how it goes. What about sunrise? What about rain? What about all the things that you said we were to gain? What about killing fields? Is there a time? What about all the things that you said were yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the blood we've shed before? Did you ever stop to notice this crying earth, these weeping shores? What have we done to the world? Look what we've done. What about all the peace that you pledged your only son? What about the flowering fields? Is there a time? What about all the dreams that you said was yours and mine? I used to dream. I used to glance beyond the stars. Now I don't know where we are, although I know we've drifted far. What about the seas? The heavens are falling down. I can't even breathe. What about apathy? What about animals? We've turned kingdoms to dust. What about elephants? Have we lost their trust? What about crying whales? We've ravaged the seas. What about forest trails? Burnt despite our pleas. I'm not going to continue because it goes on to other aberrations of man in other areas which may not be relevant here. But let me not stop on such a somber note. I'll stop on a brighter note. We had a series of interviews for law clerks very recently. And you know, we asked them to give us a list of their publications, list of the topics that they've selected for their dissertations and for their was intellectual property rights, and the second was environmental law. So this is a matter of hope, because it reveals to us that at least today's generation might do something to reverse the harm that's been caused by the earlier generations. Thank you very much for a very patient hearing. My congratulations and kudos once more to the authors. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Mr. Justice M.S. Ramesh is known to be an affable and equitable judge of the Honorable Madras High Court, and believes that justice must be done at any cost to any litigant, and encourages the young members of the bar to fearlessly present their cases. He is loved by the members of the bar for being compassionate towards the litigants. His Lordship has delivered several landmark judgments on various branches of law, and it is with great pride that I now request Honorable Mr. Justice M.S. Ramesh to please address the gathering. My Lord, please.
Thank you, Varsha. A very good evening to one and all. My esteemed brother and sister judges, Mr. Justice M. Sundar, Mrs. Justice Dr. Anita Sumanth, Honorable Mr. Justice Jyothimani, Mr. Naveen Kumar, Mr. Bhaskar, President of the Madras Bar Association, Ms. N.S. Revati, President of the Women Lawyers Association, Mr. Gauri Shankar Nadesan, my esteemed brothers who apparently have adjourned their chamber works for tomorrow to be a part of this today's evening, senior advocates, ladies and gentlemen. I would first like to congratulate and place my appreciation to Dr. Justice P. Jyothimani and Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi for having released this book on comprehensive commentary on environmental protection and pollution control laws. Mr. Naveen Murthy requested me to be a part of today's evening to speak something about the book. And from that day onwards, I was anxiously expecting that a copy of the book would be given so that I can speak on it. But I now realize that there was some difficulty in the book being released. And therefore, I just make my observations on the environmental law as such very briefly, very briefly. The topic on which the book is addressed, which is environmental protection, is a crucial subject. Sitting as a judge, we are at times confronted with issues of increasing pollution, deforestation, climate change, and loss of biodiversity. All these presumably is an outcome of the human activities such as industrialization, urbanization, and excessive exploitation of natural resources. Protecting the environment is not just a choice, but a responsibility for everyone. Today, as I earlier mentioned, I am at a disadvantage of speaking about the contents of the book. But knowing the potential of both these authors, I am sure all these aspects would have been comprehensively covered in the book. Our laws are almost self-sufficient to combat the issues leading to environment exploitation. I can only assume that the book touches upon the methods to combat these issues by adopting sustainable practices, afforestation, waste management, conservation of forests, and reducing carbon emissions. I congratulate Justice Jyothimani and Mr. Naveen for having authored a crucial topic through their books. In my view, protection of the environment is not just a choice, but a responsibility for everyone, which includes the government, the industries, and the individuals. About 2 decades ago, when the technology of e-books entered our practice, we assumed that the role of the traditional printed textbooks was likely to diminish. However, there was not much of an impact when the e-books could not completely replace the traditional books. But with the advent of the artificial intelligence driven technologies, we see that the future of the textbooks has shifted towards digital, interactive, and personalized learning experience. Though the printed textbooks may not disappear entirely, their role is more likely to diminish as digital alternatives become more engaging, accessible, and interactive. I made a reference to this advent of these AI-driven technologies with a fond hope that the authors of today and the several other judges or lawyers who may take note of this fact and give a thought of penning their future books with a hybrid approach, combining the best of printed, digital, and AI-driven learning tools. In my earlier days of practice as a lawyer, very few judges continued to impress me, not only with their legal acumen, but with their mode of conducting the court proceedings. Among the very few judges who had then inspired me was Dr. Justice P. Jyothimani. I deem it a privilege to have been called upon to give my compliments on his thoughtful gesture of releasing a comprehensive guide on environmental laws. About Mr. Naveen and me, we have known each other since his early days of practice when he used to visit his father. When Mr. STS Murthi was the government pleader, I happened to be one of the government lawyers there. Among the very few of us who left late in the evening was Mr. Murthi, myself, and Mr. Naveen, and a few other government lawyers. Every evening, we used to spend time together, and I found at that point of time Naveen to be a very bright and promising lawyer with a great future. He has not disappointed me. This textbook, which he has co-authored with Dr. Justice Jyothimani, is a testimony of his promising future. I thank him for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, my lord. It is an honor to have Honorable Mr. Justice M. Sundar amidst us on this joyous occasion. His lordship has been an inspiring personality to all members of the bar, known for his erudition, razor-sharp eye for detail, quick grasp, and a deep analysis of any subject matter. To the junior members of the bar, his lordship, while appearing tough on the exterior, has in fact been a friend in disguise by nudging us to make the right argument in the right manner to secure the relief. His lordship's recent judgment on ex post facto clearance is a literature in itself. I am happy to invite His Lordship, Honorable Mr. Justice M. Sundar, to deliver the special address. My Lord, please.
Honorable Dr. Justice P. Jyothimani, Honorable Justices M.S. Ramesh, Anita, Sumanth, Justice Ramaswamy, Saravanan, Satyanarayana Prasad, Senil Kumar, Mr. Bhaskar, President of the Madras Bar Association, Mrs. Revati, President of the Women Lawyers Association, Mr. Gauri Shankar Natesan from the Thomson Reuters, Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi, and all the lawyers, friends, and particularly friends from press and media who have all assembled here on a Monday evening. Malai Vanakangal, greetings. Thiru Naveen Kumar Murthi வாதுரைக்கும் பொழுதும் படிக்க தூண்டுவது அவருக்கு வழக்கம். அது படிக்கிறதுக்கு நிறைய வேலை கொடுப்பாரு. He has done that today also. What he did was, when he came to invite me, I am not soft like brother Ramesh. I insisted, give me a copy of the book. I said, I need a copy of the book. You want me to be there? Then he said, I will get it. I said, no, you have already released it. on 1st of September, so please give me a copy. So he said, I'll get it in an hour. In less than an hour, he gave me a copy. I was very happy. சரி, அந்த புத்தகத்தை படிப்போம், முழுமையாக படிக்கவில்லைனாலும் ஓரளவுக்காவது புத்தகத்தை படிப்போம்னு படிச்சு சில குறிப்புகள்லாம் எடுத்துக்கிட்டு புத்தகத்தை பற்றி நான் சொல்லணும், ஆசிரியர்களை பற்றி சொல்லணும் அப்படிங்கிறதுனால எடுத்துக்கிட்டு இங்கே வந்தேன். இங்கே வந்து அமர்ந்திருக்கும் பொழுது பார்த்தால் அந்த புத்தகம் 2 பகுதிகளில் இருக்கிறது. இன் 2 வால்யூம்ஸ். எனக்கு அவர் கொடுத்த ஒண்ணுதான். இப்பவும் படிக்க வச்சுட்டாரு. உடனடியாக நான் பக்கங்களை புரட்டி எத்தனை பக்கங்கள் இருக்கின்றன, எத்தனை பக்கங்கள் என்னிடம் கொடுத்தார், கொடுத்த பக்கங்களும் இதுவும் சரியாக இருக்கின்றதா என்பதையெல்லாம் சரிபார்த்து கொண்டிருந்தேன். இப்பொழுது கடந்த அரை மணி நேரமா இங்க நிகழ்ச்சியில பங்கு பெறுவது ஒரு புறம், அந்த படிக்கும் மேல இன்னொரு புறம் செய்து கொண்டிருந்தேன். அந்த வேலையை எங்கேயும் கொடுத்துட்டாரு. ஆனா it so happens that it has all the 11 chapters. 11 அத்தியாயங்களும் இருக்கிறது. முதலில் ஒரு பகுதியாக வெளியிடுவதாக இருந்ததாகவும், பிறகு பக்கங்கள் அதிகமாக இருப்பதாக 2 பகுதிகளாக வெளியிட போவதாகவும் தாம்சன் ராய்ட்டர்ஸின் திரு கௌரி சங்கர் தெரிவித்தார். ஆகவே எதுவும் விடுபடவில்லை. நான் அதை படிக்க முடிந்தது. முழுமையாக படிக்கவில்லை. That is one aspect of the matter. It was mentioned that global warming is one of the buzzwords. Global warming and glacier melting is what you mentioned, right? புவி வெப்பமடைதலும் பருவ மாறுதலும் climate change முக்கியமாக பேசப்படும் phenomena, மிக முக்கியமாக பேசப்படும் அம்சங்கள். அவை இரண்டும் இந்த புத்தகத்தில் மிக அழகாக நேர்த்தியாக அதை பற்றிய செய்திகள் சொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. எப்படி சொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கிறது என்றால், முதல் டாட்ஸ் அண்ட் காமன் லா ஆக்ஷன் மட்டுமே இருந்தது. உரிமை தீங்கு மற்றும் இயற்றப்படாத சட்டங்கள் அடிப்படையிலே தான் உங்களுக்கு நிவாரணங்கள் இருந்தது. அதன் பிறகு இயற்றப்பட்ட சட்டங்கள் வந்தன, the codified law. Thereafter we had multiple treaties, புரிந்துணர்வு ஒப்பந்தங்களும் பல ட்ரீட்டிஸும் ஏற்பட்டது. இவை அனைத்தும் கோர்வையாக இயற்றப்பட்ட சட்டங்களின் வாரியாக அழகாக கொடுக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. இதில் தீர்ப்புகளையும் ஆங்காங்கே அழகாக சொல்லி இருக்கிறார். எங்கு தேவையோ அங்கே சொல்லி இருக்கிறார். கடைசியாக நான் எழுதிய ஒரு தீர்ப்பை சேர்த்ததால் நேரம் கூடியதாக 3 காரணங்கள் சொன்னார். இந்த புத்தகம் அடைகாத்தலில் இருந்தது. இட் வாஸ் an incubation அப்படின்னு சொன்னாரு. போத் தாம்சன் ராய்ட்டர்ஸ் கௌரி சங்கரும் சொன்னாரு, கோஆத்தர் மிஸ்டர் நவீன் குமார் மூர்த்தியும் சொன்னாரு. அந்த அடைகாத்தலுக்கு 3 காரணங்கள் சொன்னாரு. ஒன்னு ஆத்தர்ஸ், இன்னொன்னு பதிப்பாளர் பப்ளிஷர், மூன்றாவது என்ன சொன்னாரு, கடைசியாக எழுதிய ஒரு தீர்ப்பு இதில் சேர்க்கப்பட வேண்டி இருந்தது அப்படின்னு. அதுல நிறைய படிக்க வேண்டி இருந்தது. நிறைய படிக்கிறதுக்கான பணி எனக்கு கொடுத்தாரு. அதுல சிறப்பான வாதங்களால் கொடுக்கப்பட்ட பணி அது. அந்த தீர்ப்பு அவரது வாதங்களை நான் ஏற்கவில்லை. He did not say that. That is what he did not mention. That was on the ex post facto aspect of the matter. What was interesting is, இந்த 11 அத்தியாயங்களும் எப்படி அழகாக கோர்க்கப்பட்டுள்ளன என்றால், முதலில் கோடிஃபை ஆவதற்கு முன்னால் இருந்த சட்ட நிலை என்ன, அதன் பிறகு ஏற்பட்ட மாறுதல்கள் என்ன, இந்த உலக வெப்பமடைதல் மற்றும் பருவ மாற்றங்களால் ஏற்படக்கூடிய சீற்றங்களும் பிரச்சனைகளும் என்ன, அது எப்படி நீதிமன்றங்களால் அணுகப்பட்டுள்ளது, அந்த நீதிமன்ற அணுகுமுறை தீர்ப்புகளால் எப்படி இருக்கிறது, தீர்ப்புகள் என்ன சொல்லி இருக்கின்றன என்பதை மிகவும் கோர்வையாக கோர்த்து சொல்லி இருக்கிறார்கள் என்பது என்னுடைய தாழ்மையான கருத்து. I think it is a very well written book. I may not commend or congratulate Dr. Jyothimani. I would thank him. Nandri, but I would commend Mr. Naveen Kumar Murthi. I would say congratulations and best wishes. இந்த இரண்டு ஆசிரியர்களில் ஒருவர் முன்னால் நான் வழக்கறிஞராக பணியாற்றி இருக்கிறேன், இன்னொருவர் என் முன்னால் வழக்கறிஞராக பணியாற்றி இருக்கிறார். I have appeared as a lawyer before him, he has appeared as a lawyer before me. So this is a wonderful combination, that experience and erudition and enthusiasm coupled with profound learning and a profound analysis of the subject have got together. I think it is an excellent blend. It's come out very well to the limited extent to which I could read the book. I would commend that you all possess a copy and read it. Today is the commercial launch, if I may say so. It's the commercial launch today. I wish the book sees very many editions, not just reprints, very many editions shortly and very quickly. Best wishes and thanks for the opportunity. Vanakkam.
மாண்புமிகு நீதிபதி திரு எம் சுந்தர் அவர்களின் தமிழ் புலமை கடந்த 10 நிமிடங்களாக நம்மளை வேறு அளவிற்கு எடுத்து சென்றது என்பதில் ஐயமில்லை. Honorable Justice Dr. Jyothimani has been a father figure for all of us, and he has been a prime reason why this book is there today. And we think it is befitting that we honor him with a shawl, and I request my senior and the former Advocate General, Mr. Naveen to come on stage to honor Honorable Dr. Justice P. Jyothimani, our co-author. I shouldn't forget my days in his chamber when he was the Advocate General, that we would be running from court to court, and the most relaxed court he would be is in Dr. Justice Jyothimani's court. Thank you, sir. Yesterday, most of us would have been glued to our television sets for the India-Pakistan cricket match. And one man single-handedly won the match, which was Virat Kohli. But our book was not like that. Dr. Justice Jyothimani was the captain. I was perhaps a vice captain, whom he gave the freedom. But we had a fantastic team of youngsters helping us, and we, with the permission of Honorable Justice M. Sundar, Honorable Justice Anita, Sumanth, and Honorable Justice Ramesh, would just request all our colleagues to come up for a photograph for them to be honored. May I request Varsha Sridharan, Mr. Siddhartha Vishnu, Mr. Mahamani, a key pillar for the book, Mr. Vishnu Priyan, Mr. Arvind Karthikeyan, Mr. Srujit to come on stage, Mr. Prem Chandar, Mr. G.V. Mohan Kumar, Mr. Ajit and Mr. Periyasamia paralegal staff, Mr. Ramamurthy, who had spent quite some time with us for giving suggestions. I thank all of you. Without you, we would not be standing today. We also have our young interns, Ms. Sindana Andavan and Ms. Rishika R, who have been, it was like a relay race where every day I would do something, they would complete something. May I request the judges to. Thank you very much, all of you. Without you, the book could not be there today.
I now invite Dr. Justice P. Jyothimani, former judge of the Madras High Court and co-author of the book, who has been the guiding factor and constant support right from the beginning till the present in bringing out this voluminous commentary and making it a success, to deliver the vote of thanks. My Lord, please.
My Lords, Honorable Justice Sundar, Honorable Justice Ramesh, Honorable Justice Anita, Honorable Justice Krishna Ramasamy, Honorable Justice Saravanan, Honorable Justice Satyanarayana, Enga Chamber over Satyanarayana Prasad, Honorable Justice Sendil Kumar, President of the Bar Association, President of the Women Lawyers Association, the publisher Mr. Vidya Gauri Shankar, Mr. Naveen, respected senior advocates and my dear advocate friends. 50 வருடத்திற்கு பிறகு இந்த இடத்துக்கு வருவதற்கு ஒரு வாய்ப்பு கிடைத்ததுதான் எனக்கு மிகவும் சந்தோஷம். அப்பொழுது நான் பார் கவுன்சில் ஆஃப் தமிழ்நாடுக்கு லாயர். 75வது வருடம் என்ரோல்மெண்ட் சமயத்து இந்த இடத்துல வந்தது. அதுக்கு பிறகு நான் வரவில்லை. இந்த வாய்ப்பு நவீன் கொடுத்திருக்கிறார். இந்த புத்தகம் எவ்வளவு தூரம் மக்களுக்கு போய் சேர்கிறது என்பதை காட்டிலும் இதை போன்ற வாய்ப்புகள் மூலம் நம்முடைய மன நிம்மதி ஏற்படுகிறது என்பதுதான் மிக மிக அவசியம். Friends, environmental law, you are all aware, is based on the public trust doctrine which emanated from Roman law, later on accepted by the common law of England, then Supreme Court has adopted. When common law of England was dealing with a shrimp farm, that was a saline water which was of no use. But still, the Supreme Court of California said, water belongs to the king. King is a servant of the people, and therefore nobody else, including the king, has any right to interfere with water or any other environment. And that was the starting point of the environmental protection. Then of course came the various Stockholm Conference and all these things. Governments joined together and wanted to have a political agenda. Then we have become a very important partner in the international parlor. Then the Environmental Protection Act of 1986 came into existence. Even before that, the Water Act was there. Water Act was it was a central act, but unfortunately water is in the state list. And under the provisions of the Constitution of India, if the 50% of states give consent, central government has got a power to enact. It is based on that Water Act was enacted in 1974. And thereafter 1981 Air Act came into existence, 86 this Environmental Protection Act came into existence. Now the law is very clear. And under the Environmental Protection Act, Section 3 and Section 5 and Section 6 are the important provisions. Section 3 enables the central government to formulate statutory rules and regulations. 5 enables the government of India to give directions in cases where the industry is going to expand its activities. And Section 6 about the framing of the other rules, under which you find so many rules are framed, up to the solid waste management rules and so on. Now friends, this book, what we thought, of course Naveen with the team of young friends, I must confess that these people have worked for more than 1.5 years only on this book, and night and day they have worked on that. And some of the junior members of the office of Naveen, they were not only excellent in law but excellent in English. And I have committed some mistake in some of the papers which I have corrected, and then one of the juniors have corrected it. It's very good. And that shows the involvement of the younger generation on this important subject. Now UNEP every day speaks about the environment. I am a life member of UNEP. Probably every one of the judges should become the life member of the United Nations Environment Program. And every day we speak about that. Justice Benjamin is the chairman now. Is the South Africa Chief Justice, and one of the eminent judges worldwide known about the environment. This I came to know because when I was in NGT, between 2016, 17 and 18, I have conducted international seminars on international law, and Justice Benjamin was our leader, and some of the House of Lords and some of the American Supreme Court judges who spoke very well about the environment and how their government have been violating environment in various ways. Those things were spoken in the presence of the President of India and the Prime Minister of India in Delhi. And this, what we thought was that a comprehensive book must be there. There is a Water Act, Air Act, Environmental Protection Act, so many 13 or 14 regulations have been framed so far by the central government as per the powers conferred under Section 6 and Section 3 of the Act. And we wanted to have it as a comprehensive one, and the publisher was kind enough. Of course, delay is not a matter. Ultimately, the matter should reach the people. And if you go through the book, yesterday night I had occasion to go through, because this weekend, next week, I am going to speak on Justice S. Mogan Endowment on Environmental Law in the Madras University. I am virtually going to take a class for 2 hours for the criminology student, because I was a criminology doctorate, sentencing justice, and I have come to the environment, and I am writing a book on the green criminology, how Section 15 of the Environmental Protection Act is most ineffective, and how when you have an NGT Act in which a Supreme Court judge sits as a chairman, and High Court judges and Supreme Court judges sit as retired judges sitting as judicial members along with the experts. And we propounded the theory of the environmental compensation and polluter pay principles and so on. But when it comes to the ruthless industrialists who discharge their industrial effluents into water body, what should be the punishment? Section 15 says that the punishment can be given up to 5 years and 1 lakh compensation, fine. But who has to give? You have to go to the magistrate court. And I am deeply worried. I spoke in Delhi also about this. I am deeply worried. In the Intellectual Property Act, you want a magistrate to prosecute a person. A person who may not even able to operate a system is entrusted with the power of imposing a punishment. Like that, environmental law is a law which is expected to be with the National Green Tribunal, Supreme Court and the High Courts. And ultimately, when it comes to prosecution, prosecuting a person, the police officer has to prosecute. He has to understand what is the environment, what is the degradation, what is sustainable development, and how the charges are framed against sustainable development, and how he is going to make it understandable to the magistrate, and how magistrate is going to give a judgment. And we have not heard of any judgment so far by any of the courts in India. There was a judgment in Bhopal about this gas tragedy case. And that judge was our registrar in Bhopal NGT when I was in the National Green Tribunal. And he has awarded 20 crores of amount as a compensation. I said it is the most foolish judgment. And I have seen in Bhopal sitting there for 4 months, thousands of people are not only they are dead, but their generations are with the defects. You just go even now to Bhopal. Probably all judges will be going for classes in Bhopal. And you go near that area, you find the children born through these affected people, they are defective. And that is how it has affected the human right. And that is how the implementation of environmental law, which are very strict norms, is very much impossible. And we thought a comprehensive book on the entire regulations governing the environment will be of use not only to the bench and the bar, but also people at large. ஏதோ ஒரு படத்தில் திருடனாய் பார்த்து திருடா விட்டால் திருடை ஒழிக்க முடியாது. ஆகவே when we don't understand the importance of preserving environment, it is very difficult for us, because we never thought about the tsunami 20 years ago. And UNEP says now, in the end of this year, this century, we are going to see a lot of problems, because every country is competing for the purpose of giving missiles. Every country, every day, 20 or 30 missiles are being spent. And there is a research in one of the universities in the United States saying that if the countries competing each other, sending missiles, saying that they are powerful and all that, a time will come when the equilibrium of the entire world is going to be lost because of the environmental pollution. And people are going to face that. And that is how environment is not a subject related to A and B. It is a subject related to everybody in the world. It is a world subject. Intellectual property may be relating to an individual and another individual. Criminal law may be relating to one offender and the state. And civil law may be relating to A and B, where it can be settled by mediation or arbitration or so many things. But environmental law cannot be settled either by mediation or by arbitration. It has to be done only by people understanding the importance of that. There was a research study about our Pallikaranai. Pallikaranai, we gave judgment from Delhi. And what happened is the water has become highly polluted. It is like Yamuna River. Yamuna River, Central Pollution Control Board says if anybody puts his hand or leg on that, he will get a disease. That is the Yamuna River as on date. And Pallikaranai is like that. And the latest research says Pallikaranai is a place where migratory birds coming from New Zealand and other places during the season, some 2 or 3 months season, and then after reproduction it goes back to their country. That is the natural selection by Darwin theory. The birds which come to India or any other part must go back to the native place. That is the natural system. Otherwise the nature is going to change. Now the latest study shows that those birds who come to Pallikaranai, they are adapted to this polluted water. They don't want to go back to their country. They don't want to go back to the country. That is going to change the entire system. Natural system is going to be changed. And that is how it is important. You can't punish a person for this. You have to change yourself. You have to see that your environment is neatly preserved. And that is how so many regulations are being made. And that is the very purpose of this comprehensive book. And Anita has given a very wonderful speech, which is research-oriented method, and she should have been given some more time, because she has studied on that, and a very competent person. Justice Sundar is most competent, and I have been reading so many judgments of him, and I am very happy that Justice Ramesh, who has been excelling in the criminal side, has come forward with this environmental system that shows the involvement of the judicial system. The environmental justice is now the evolving system in the entire world, not in India alone. And that is how the 4 judges who are not expected to speak are coming of their own. That shows the interest which they have on the subject. And large number of advocates I am seeing for the first time in this hall. Only during the enrollment session full இருக்கும். ஏன்னா 400 பேர் 500 பேர் மொத்தமாக என்ரோல்மெண்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க. நாங்கள் என்ரோல் பண்ணும்போது ஒரு 12 பேர் இருப்போம். அந்த ரவுண்ட் டேபிள் உட்காந்து ஒரு பேராக சொல்லுவாங்க. சீனியர் அட்வொகேட் ஆர் கிருஷ்ணமூர்த்தி, ஐ திங்க் Parasaran has mentioned my name. He has to propose a name. Parasaran has proposed my name. R. Krishnamurthy has proposed my friend's Kabir's name. We were 16 people only. Now 900 people are sitting in the hall, and the person who is going to propose I am going to propose the person sitting in this hall as advocates to be future. That is how it happens. That is how the profession is increasing, and large number of these advocates coming here on this small subject shows the involvement which they have. And we only hope that if this book is reaching the people and helping at least one person, it will help the entire country, entire world as such. Thank you very much for giving opportunity. And Naveen is a person who has been doing this, and I have been only consulted here and then because other things I have been indulging. And the entire credit goes to Naveen and his group. Thank you very much.
With this, we come to the end of this event. I thank everyone for coming to the event and making it a grand success. Thank you. I now request everyone to please stay back until the dignitaries leave the dais. And to pre-order the books, please contact bookseller Mr. Ravi from Tamil Nadu Law House, who has put up a stall at the far end of the room. Thank you one and all. I request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा, उच्छल जलधि तरंगा, तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you everybody for coming. Our special thanks to the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu Chairman Mr. Amal Raj and Vice Chairman of the Bar Council of India Mr. Prabhakaran, who had made fantastic